tab, and in the target tab we have several useful options as well. In here, this in my opinion is one of the most useful tabs that you have. We're going to start with this sitemap in here. Now this sitemap, we saw these tasks in here. This live passive crawl from proxy all traffic. This is the one that's going to fill up your sitemap. So when you're browsing, you're going to get a proxy, you're going to get traffic in here, and your sitemap is going to be filled up by this specific task. If you have it off, it's not going to fill your sitemap up. So that's going to be a problem. If you don't see anything in here, it might be either your scope is being set incorrectly or that the task is just not running. That's happened to me before. Now, if the task is paused, don't worry, those executions, those requests are not going to get lost. As soon as you unpause the task, it's going to add them to the sitemap in here. Real quick for the filtering, this has some really cool stuff in here. You've probably seen this before. You can show only your parameterized requests. This is something really useful. This is what I care about. I don't care about static requests. This is what I usually follow up on because I'm an API hacker. I love doing API requests, and those are usually going to be parameterized if I can make any impact on them. Now I can also filter by MIME type. For example, if I only want to see JavaScripts, that's possible. I can just select scripts in here. If I only want to see HTML files, if I only want to see XML files, etc. You guys know the drill. You can select whatever you want in here. Now, by default, if you get a 403, for example, it's not going to show up in your sitemap. That's because the 4xxx request errors are not being shown by default. If you want to see them, you'll have to enable them. Don't worry, they're not gone, but this is done because 404 is also a 4xx status code, and 404 means not found. So you're going to possibly have a lot of those in there, especially if you've been running some tools against your target and it's been returning a lot of 404s. Now the hide empty folders, this is enabled by default, which is pretty good of course. And then you can filter by search term. Here you can enter any term that you want. It's going to look everywhere in this sitemap, in the bodies and the headers. It's going to look in the request itself and everywhere in there. And then you can do that with a regular expression. You can do it case sensitive or insensitive. And if you enable negative search, it's going to remove everything that has this search term in it. Filter by file extension has some cool options as well. You can show only or hide all of specific files. If you want to find all of the JavaScript files, really easy to do. There we go, I found all of the JavaScript files. There are some other cool tricks you can do with this, of course. And then you can filter by annotation, which you can show only the commented items or show only the highlighted items for. And this is really cool because if you click on a request for, oh wow, I've removed quite a lot of them now. Apparently, let's remove there we go. So if we right click on this request, for example, we have the scan option. We can do that to one request. We can do that to a complete host in here. We can do it to a specific subfolder. There are a lot of different things that we can actually scan. We can right click it, and if we do that, we have a new option in here, which is audit selected items. And as you can see here, it's going to list all of those specific items, and it's going to create a new test for you. And then you can do again, add a specific scan configuration, select your resource pool, and then we can start the same scanning again. Again, only available in the Pro version though. That was it for filtering, scanning. We've had those. Then we'll move over to scope. This is a really cool section in here because you can use the advanced scope control or the regular one. I always use the advanced one. This has the advantage that I can enter regular expressions in here. I usually enter part of my host, like in here, ferretshop.herokuapp.com. And if there are specific subdomains that are out of scope, you can add them to the exclude from scope section in here. HackerOne has some really useful things that you can do to export that configuration file for Burp for their whole scope and all of that stuff. So you can definitely check that out. It's going to be in the PDF that's also in the course.